Maybe you've heard about how fun and immersive and incredibly cool it can be to play D&D. Maybe somebody's invited you to a game, but you have no idea how to play or whether or not you even want to. Maybe somebody shared a video with you of people playing D&D and you don't know what's going on. Why are they laughing? Why are they crying? Why is that guy jumping up and down? If any of those describe you, you're definitely in the right place. This is How to Play D&D, or watch it.
How to play
D&D, or watch it.
Dungeons and Dragons. It's a game where you can break free from reality and you can do anything you can imagine and you can be anyone you want, almost. No, you can be anyone you want. It's a game of collaborative storytelling. It's an immense creative outlet for writers, artists, composers. It has an incredible community of people that support one another and work together to make the best possible stories they can. And I've never seen that anywhere else. So how do you play? Well, here's the gist of it. Traditionally, it's played at a table, but with modern technology, you can also play it online. In Dungeons and Dragons, you're either the player or the Dungeon Master, DM for short. So the Dungeon Master wears a few hats. The Dungeon Master serves as the referee of the rules to make sure that there's structure to the game so that it's fair and that it flows. But the Dungeon Master is also the main narrator. I like to think of it as more of like the director of like a live performance. They're meant to keep the momentum of the events going. They also maintain the tone of the story that they're trying to tell, whether that be more towards tragedy or comedy or a mix of both. If the players come across a non-player character or an NPC, let's say they walk into a tavern and the barmaid walks up to them, the Dungeon Master will play the barmaid. Oh, hello everybody. What would you like? What can I get you? Welcome to these parts, etc. And so the Dungeon Master is bringing the world and the people in it to the players. I also like to think of the Dungeon Master as like the host of the party. It's their responsibility to make sure everybody's having a good time and that they're being respectful to one another. The players, on the other hand, can do whatever they want, almost. But like I said earlier, because invincibility would be bland and boring in terms of storytelling, there are some rules to provide some structure. So nobody is good at everything, but everyone is good at something. And so that forces people to come together to accomplish different things. So if there's anything that you want to do in the game, or if there's anything that your character wants to do in the game, that's gonna fall under one of 6 categories. And here they are. Strength. So you want to push something, you want to pull something, you want to punch somebody in the face, that's gonna be a strength check. The Hulk might have an easier time doing something that requires strength than Hawkeye or Black Widow. Dexterity measures how acrobatic you are, how good you are with your hands. So these are typically your assassins, your rogues. These are like the Black Widows or the Ezios of Assassin's Creed. Constitution measures how resilient you are to disease, illnesses, curses, drowning. So somebody like Samuel Jackson's Glass might have a low constitution stat. Intelligence. So this is how book smart you are, how well studied, how well educated you are. Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, Dr. Strange, these are people that are learned. These are people that have studied and are good at what they do because they've educated themselves. And now here's where it maybe gets a bit confusing because we have wisdom aside from intelligence, and wisdom is more how in tune you are with your surrounding environment. The best way that I've heard it explained is intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, whereas wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato into a fruit salad. And then finally, we have charisma. This is how D&D quantifies why people like Will Smith, Keanu Reeves, Barack Obama are just universally loved. It's a measure of how charismatic the person is. It's how persuasive are they. If you want to get a discount on something, you might have to charisma your way down on that bargain. So characters with high charisma are going to be characters that are more persuasive, moving, and magnetic. So for some context, the average person will probably have stats that look something like this. If you have anything more than a 10, then you're above average and you get a little bonus on your little roll. So good job. So how do you decide your character stats or what determines it? Well, we'll talk about that in the character creation video. So if you want to see that, you can click here if it's ready. If it's not ready, it's coming. Let's use an example to demonstrate this. Your Dungeon Master says, you're in a forest. It's a beautiful day. One player says, I want to rip a tree out of the ground. If your player was similar to a Bill Gates, really smart, but maybe not the most athletic guy, it might be a bit difficult compared to like the Hulk. So the system with the D20 reaffirms that. It reinforces the idea that people that are strong will be better at doing things that take strength, and people that are smart are going to be better at things that require higher intelligence. What's the D20 system, you ask? Well, this is a 20-sided die. It's magical. D for dice, 20 for the amount of sides on it. But it's beautiful. It's the decider of fate, the destiny bringer, the chaos machine, whatever you want to call it. You roll this to attempt most everything in the game. You want to look for tracks in the forest? Roll a d20. Want to punch someone in the face? Roll a d20. Want to charm the handsome innkeeper? Roll a d20. You get the idea. So the more difficult something is, the higher you'll have to roll on your 20-sided die, and the Dungeon Master will take care of making that judgment call. So going back to our example, the Bill Gates character that we have would roll a d20, and if it was some sort of action that required intelligence, then he would roll an intelligence check. And so whatever number he gets on that roll would have a bonus added to it based on how smart he is or how high his intelligence stat is. Everyone is good at something. It means that everybody can bring value to the table and everybody has a chance to have a heroic or epic moment. There are two special numbers on the d20. That's the 20 and the 1. If you roll a 1, no matter what it is, no matter what your bonuses are, you're gonna fail at doing what that is, and there will be repercussions. What those are will be dependent on the scenario and your Dungeon Master's judgment call. If you roll that 20 while you're in combat or in battle, then means you do double the damage. It's a critical hit. But if you're trying to do something that would otherwise be impossible, like you're trying to get the mayor of the town jump out of the window, as a Dungeon Master, it's up to you to bridge the gap between what the players want to do, what their role is, and what actually happens. Some Dungeon Masters might make that an epic moment based on what you say in conjunction with that role. Maybe the player says, my character approaches the mayor and I say, look at all the destruction you've caused, look at all the lives that have been lost, look at all the people that are in pain because of you, jump out that window. And then they roll a 20. It gives it a bit more narrative room for the Dungeon Master to say, he feels guilt, he feels pressure, it's immense. He looks at you, tears streaming down his face, and he jumps out the window. There can be a higher likelihood of something impossible maybe happening if you roll a d20, or it can reduce the consequences of you trying to do something stupid. Maybe you roll a 20 and the mayor shrugs off your stupid comment and laughs because he thinks you're joking, instead of punishing you and throwing you into prison. A few different ways to interpret it, but that's the beauty of this game. You're weaving a story together with the Dungeon Master, with the other players, and the end result is always going to be different, even in the same module, in the same adventure. And it's a great opportunity to just be as creative and imaginative as you can be. So I know the video is getting long, but if you like what you've seen so far, please hit like down below, and I will give away candy to everyone at the end of this video. As you go around the world, there are 3 types of encounters that you might come across. Those are social encounters, exploration encounters, and battle encounters. You can have a session full of social encounters, you can have a session full of exploration encounters, etc. For the most part, people like to mix those, and the better balanced that is, the more well-rounded your session is, typically the better the experience. We've had sessions where it was like 90% social encounters and we were just goofing around the whole time and everybody had a blast. But generally speaking, as a Dungeon Master, you're gonna wanna kind of balance those out. Wow, that sounds like a lot, right? Wow, a social encounter, blah, 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 blah. Sounds like a long list. Yes, but there are a bunch of pre-written modules. So if you want to follow a pre-written adventure and have all the details given to you so you can practice, I highly recommend it. Can you write your own adventures? Absolutely. Is it a fun experience? Absolutely. Is it stressful? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's worth it. It's so rewarding when you write a storyline and the players react emotionally, or you get those ooh or ah moments. That's definitely something that I do recommend. If you aren't comfortable doing it though, definitely start with a pre-written adventure. There are plenty, and there are some that are just amazing. So does the DM just tell you what's happening the whole time? They can, yeah, and that's called theater of mind, because everything happens in the mind. That's OG Dungeons and Dragons. That's how it was played way back when. I love theater of mind. Our group loves theater of mind, so we do that primarily with a mix of a bunch of different types of visual aids. So I can show them a photo of what the cave looks like. I can show them a photo of what that character looks like that they're interacting with. I can show them an image of a forest so that they get a feel for whether it's spooky spooky or beautiful and majestic. I found that just having a mix of those things is a better experience for everybody. They have a mix of visual aid and theater of mind. Battle, I find, is really fun, theater of mind, but if you're very tactical and you want it done strategically and you really want that to be the focus, or you want to do that to some degree, then as a dungeon master, you can set up a battle map with a grid where it's 5 feet by 5 feet and the characters know when their turn is and all that, and that's fun too. It just depends on your group. And what I've found as a dungeon master is that if the players are having a good time, then I'm having a good time. It's very rewarding when I see the smiles on their faces and I hear their laughter. I love my group. I know it's a lot, and I hope it helps. So how do you get started? Where do you play? You don't have to find a group locally. You can definitely play online if that works better for you, and there are some great ways to do it. There's a free version of Roll20 that gives you basically everything you need to get started. There's Fantasy Grounds, there's Tabletop Simulator. If you're looking for a group, you can find a group on Roll20, or you can jump onto Reddit, and there are some communities there where you can find a group. I'll include some links in the description below. But I really do hope that you get a chance to play soon, that you choose to play soon, or that you choose to watch videos soon. There are plenty of great actual play videos online, and I hope that if you aren't already inspired to play, that one of those will do that for you, like it inspired me to play. That was a lot. But by now you should have a good idea of how it works and whether or not you want to play. D&D is not a hard sell. It's an incredible game. It's amazing. It's life-changing. And so if I haven't sold you on that yet, then I'm not doing my job. Definitely let us know in the comments. If you have learned something, if you do definitely want to play now, you think you're going to, hit like below. And if you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe with the bell and be notified when we put out more awesome content. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you spending your time with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Until next time, adventurers.
D&D Digest.